watch them all.
Yeah, man. So let me get this straight. Your grandma got this boyfriend off Plenty of Fish.
Correct.
Imported him over to Myrtle Beach. And it seemed like in her little video that you nefariously recorded with your cell phone camera, it seemed like she was.
Realize that.
Yeah, it seemed like she was trying to play it off like, he just wanted to come to Myrtle Beach, and I knew him. That's all it was. But in reality, it seems like maybe she had some feelings for this guy, and now they've kind of.
Let me clear the slate up because I looked at the subreddit and they had the story all twisted.
Which subreddit? Right. It was the Pika show or the
PKA?
The PKA subreddit. I didn't see that thread. Okay.
All right. My grandma recently got into Plenty of Fish. She's a woman that leads a very isolated life, and she just does stuff to make herself entertained. Well, she finds Jim, which is the guy's name, and Jim doesn't have transportation. She don't know anything about him, but in 3 weeks she's in love. So she decides to move him down here. And and so she asked me to rent a U-Haul and go get him, and he would pay me the money to after all the stuff, which he did.
This is great.
I rented a U-Haul and I paid the gas money and everything, and I helped move him down here.
Let me jump in. How far did you drive with this U-Haul? Like, and was it like a U-Haul you tow behind your truck?
Yes, it was an enclosed 12-footer.
All right, so you went and got one of those 12-foot U-Hauls, hooked it up to your truck, and then you drove to where?
Fayetteville, North Carolina.
How far of a drive is that? So you drove 2 hours. You never met this guy before.
110 miles, something like that.
So you never met this guy before. You load his shit up, put him in your truck, and bring him back to your grandma's place.
Well, me and a guy named Doug did it. Yeah.
Has Jim ever been to prison?
Don't know about that question, but Doug is a guy that I had help me move the stuff because Jim is like 70, so he couldn't help me move dressers and stuff. So I took somebody with me.
Let me ask you this: did your grandma come on this trip with you?
Yes.
Okay, well, that was nice.
Her own car.
Okay, all right. So how long?
You didn't have to spend time. You didn't have to spend 2 hours just you and this guy in a truck. He rode with her, I'm sure.
That's my concern.
Correct.
So how did she fell in love with him online?
Mm-hmm.
Did they Skype or were they just sexting? Like, how does this go down?
Phone, FaceTime.
Okay.
FaceTime.
So he gets down here. In less than a week, she's ready to throw him out. He buys this big thumpity stereo system. Well, he got it from Aaron's. He bought one of those buy here, pay here places. You got this big thumpity stereo systems, and they're like, this thing has 3 18-inch subwoofers built into it. It's and he put it in a single wide trailer. It's like it didn't make sense.
And too much noise.
What kind of music does he play through this thumpity boombox
Country Western.
from Aaron's?
Leonard
Country
Skinner.
Western. Also some Marty Robbins?
Down Earl Haggard and some Waylon Jennings.
Okay.
This is hilarious.
I'd have an aneurysm.
This guy,
regardless, the reason I'm telling you about the thumpity stereo system, there was a point about that, is because when shit started rolling downhill, that was the first complaint that gets thrown up, that she doesn't like the stereo in her house. Okay. So she was trying to throw the stereo out the door. This is a stereo that this man hasn't paid for fully yet. He's on a payment plan with it. So we had to stop.
Are they living in the same house?
They were living in the same house at that point.
Oh, okay.
So, so we had to call the law. Because
call the law.
Grandma was in one of her moods. My grandma, her blood pressure goes straight through the roof, and she gets ready to fight. My grandma is.
So the call just hit 4 hours. Click your video thing, and it'll come back. It's a little slow, but it'll do it.
Okay. Let's make sure that it was recording.
No, we're good.
But so we called the law, and the law comes out and goes no, you can't throw him out. You got to go to the magistrate. You got to evict him. His mail comes here. He is now a tenant. Basically, what we were trying to tell her, we had to have the law tell her. So that kind of smoothed things out for about 4 days. And then she wants to throw his clothes out the door. So after that happens, he ends up, because she's talking pure tea dog shit to him when he's there, because they have these 2 recliners, and they would sit there, and she would just bitch at him all day. So he goes and rents a do I need to do something?
Taylor did, but it's better. And Kyle, can you go on and off again too? It's not working.
Yeah.
For you.
I don't know.
I should be fine, hopefully.
You are fine, Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool.
So where was that?
They would talk. She would talk shit to him. They would
she would sit there and talk shit, like pure T shit. And it was it's so much. She was talking down to the man so much. I had to be like, dude, that's not cool. You can't sit there and talk bad about this man. Imagine if somebody stood over you all day and talked bad about you. And here's the kicker: she was charging the man $900 a month to stay in a single wide trailer.
No, she was not.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this was just a tenant that she found online.
So how much money? How many total months of rent did she extract from him? Like 1 month?
Two.
She got $1,800 cash off this guy.
Yeah.
And a stereo.
Well, the stereo he turned back in, but we'll get to that later. She actually probably got more than that because, like, I heard from him today that what would happen is he has a pension check from like some place he was like an employee of, and his pension check is like $2,400 a month. He would give her the entire check, both of the months he was there, and here's the kicker: he would rely on her to buy him stuff. Like, say he needed cigarettes or he wanted to go out to eat or something, he'd be like, she would have to pay for it because he pretty much gave her his whole check. Well, she started accusing him of never buying anything. And now you got to sit there and talk to my grandma, be like, well, he gave you all his money.
Mm-hmm.
You're not technically buying the stuff for him. You're using his money to buy the stuff for him.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you can't realistically charge that amount of money for the house that you're giving him.
So after a couple months, she kicks you out, and she kicks him out. She kicks him out. So how does he end up at your place? That's what I want to know. Because I'm gonna be honest,
he
with you,
eventually gets tired of it.
If I'd only known this,
he goes
dude
and rents a
2
place.
months, I can't see letting him come live with me. How is it that you're letting this guy live with you?
He eventually gets tired of it. He goes and rents a place, and he bounces a check. The check comes. He has like 4 checks come back on him. He has like the deposit check, which is like $1,000, the light check, the water check, and like a check he wrote at some gas station. So all 4 of those bounce. And then my mother starts feeling bad for him because like he didn't really know what to do here because he's like a 70-year-old man. You know, he's had a stroke. He doesn't have a car. He doesn't even have a license because of said stroke. So, and he's about to be evicted from the place that he went to rent because he wrote bad checks to get out of there to get away from grandma. So, mama goes, come live with us. Well, she moves him into here since we have 5 bedrooms. And till we can find him a place and get him somewhere so he can be stable again. Because he's pretty much been transplanted from where he was at to down here, and he knows nobody down here. So that works. So we get him in here, and then grandma goes ballistic about that. And then she starts out with this building stuff. Like there's a building on the property, and she wants to throw his stuff out of the building because we took all the stuff that he had left and we put it out there in the building to keep it in storage because there's no room for it in the house.
Yeah.
And real quick, this is over the course of 1 week.
This is over the course of about a week and a half.
My God, that's a quick, descent into a terrible situation.
So what's this guy's name again?
Jim Williams.
What kind of engineer? You said he was an engineer. What did he do?
HVAC. What he did was like when big buildings would go online, like these box store buildings, he would design the systems that would go into the building, like the duct work and where the air conditioners would be placed and things of that nature.
Oh, okay. So like, kind of like a civil engineer, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know what his job title is. I never really asked him because every time I ask him about anything, he wants to cry about how he loved grandma and he don't know why he did it wrong. I mean, that's all I can get out of him. But grandma doesn't want his stuff in her building, so she calls the law on us. And the law comes back out. Well, not me personally, but my mother. So they go through that, and then mother busts out the landees and shows the law this, and he basically tells her that she can't keep calling him out here, or there's something that they can arrest you for if you keep abusing, like, the police. I don't know what it is off the top of my head.
Wasting their false report.
Yeah, false report. And
I kind of want to meet this guy now. Is there any chance we get him on video sometime?
Yeah. It's midnight, dude.
I'm not talking about now. I know it's too late now, but like, first,
he's
two
old man,
things.
He's asleep.
We group watch all your
two
videos.
Things, though. Like, I think I'd love to get him on video and get his perspective of the thing because I think your grandma did him wrong. That's what it sounds like. But he needs a nickname though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hopefully moves out. That's just going to be his nickname.
Jim, who used to live
like
here. That's what we'll call him.
This sucks for you because you had nothing to do with the forming of any of this, and now it sounds like you're the guy who's kind of trying to take the high road.
I ended up getting a 70-year-old man dumped on me. I'm like, dude, I can't take care of myself.
This is like Always Sunny.
Yeah, it is. And
you got an old man.
It's like I just all of a sudden inherited one.
You just fell into an old man situation, as you do. You know, I don't know how many times I've been, just going about life, and it just worked out. So I had an old man living at my house.
All of a sudden, there's an old guy to try.
Just a friendly transient along for the ride.
All right. So
it escalated to the point where my mother just got tired of it. Like that was the straw that broke the camel's back. 'Cause Grandma does this about 3 times a year. She'll just become belligerent and want to fight with people, and she does it because she's bored. And she only has a 6th grade education, and she doesn't know how to convey her feelings properly. She can't go, I'm unhappy with the situation I'm in. Is there anything you can do to help? She will look for something spiteful to do and push that button. That's how she does it.
Is this one of the worst times she's done it, or is this just another part of the course?
I think it's just the one that broke the back. Mama packed up and left. So I'm like,
is your mom still pretty close, even when she does pack up and leave, like still?
Oh, she's in driving distance. She didn't like move to another state or something, but like she packed up and moved in with her boyfriend. So it's just me and Jim now. So it's like whatever.
I picturing you.
I paid the lion's share of the bills regardless, so it's not like a huge money hit.
I was picturing you helping out some dude who was like 43, 44, and that seemed so fucking ridiculous to me. But then to imagine this old man, it's like, well, you really can't just be like, are you in a tough spot? You senior citizen, fuck off. Like you have to be there to help.
I don't know. So I don't know how to phrase this, and I don't know how to say it nicely. So please just understand that this is a little not very delicate. I have a special skill that Dr. Chiz admires in that I can spot fetal alcohol syndrome a mile away.
He is.
Your grandmother is. Do you know that?
Oh, no. Oh. What is fetal alcohol syndrome? Can you explain that?
It's when her mom drank while she was pregnant. And there's a bunch of symptoms. Like the one that jumps out at me the most is the smooth philtrum, small head, small eye openings, low nasal bridge, small nose.
Low nasal bridge is a big one.
You can tell all that by somebody drinking while the baby's being formed?
If you look up fetal alcohol syndrome, it'll show super specific points. I didn't notice that. What are you saying?
Look again.
I can only explain my family tree as redneck. That's the word I would describe them.
Yeah, I look at your it's a thing that jumps out at me. I'll just watch, I look at people, whatever, and I'll see some. I saw a girl on Reddit dancing too slutty on a boat, and you know how you see a million times all these this. For some reason, there's boat parties where all of a sudden everyone has a boat and this girl's dancing to music, and I'm like, yep. Fine, fetal alcohol syndrome, fine, fetal alcohol syndrome.
So there's something you look for.
Oh, yeah, I can spot it a mile away.
He's always looking for genetic impurities.
He's like the next generation Hitler.
So they're going to take him down in the first round.
I think Bernie really needs to win the state. If he doesn't,
he does need to win the state. That's a given. I'm thinking what do you think the outcome is?
All right, so I feel like if Bernie doesn't win this, then his only other chance is if Hillary is indicted. I feel like that's it. In my opinion,
Hillary's not getting indicted.
Okay, well, you heard it here first.
I mean, he has to win the state, and he has to win the state by 20 points. I mean, if you win it by 15 points,
he's not even winning the
polls.
The polls would have to be wrong by 35 points for him to get what he needs. So he's done.
And it's a closed primary or whatever you call it. It's a closed election, so the independents, the Republicans can't vote. Only the Democrats. And the deadline to switch, if you wanted to, was back in October of last year, August of last year, something like that. Look, I like Sanders. He's my second favorite candidate that we have to choose from in this current pool of turds and douches. But I just don't think I feel like Trump is a more realistic option to beat Hillary.
I don't think Trump is going to be the nominee.
I'm going to
call it right now. I'm going to call it right here. Everybody wait up. Kasich is going to be the nominee.
That's not going to happen.
It is. They're going to go into a contested convention. Remember, Ted Cruz is a Tea Party guy, and all the Republicans hate Trump. But Trump might get it. But they're either going to put Kasich in there or they're going to put in Paul Ryan.
Paul Ryan he literally came out yesterday and was like, I want to state this emphatically. I'm not. He's like, he's like something about. He's like, I'm not running for the office of president. I had that opportunity. I mean,
but like, Hillary's going to beat whatever Republican they put up anyway.
We'll see. Hillary is a gaffe machine, and if you get somebody out there to like get her off her center and get her like speaking off the cuff, and I feel like Trump can do that. Trump can make you look silly up there.
Here's why Trump loses to Hillary, though, Kyle.
Okay.
Hillary is essentially Obama 3.0.
No.
So the black people love her.
Look, Hillary looks okay right now because she's running against somebody who doesn't actually attack her. Sanders is running a campaign that inspires some people because it's so kind and gentle and nice, but it loses. When she goes against Trump, he is going to be... Trump knocked off Jeb Bush. He knocked off Kasich, really. He's going to beat Cruz. He knocked off Paul... who am I looking for?
Marco Rubio.
Rubio, but Rubio's on the list. I'm looking for the Ron Paul's son. Ryan Paul, maybe?
Rand
Paul, thank you. He knocked off Rand Paul. He knocked off everybody, right?
Hillary looks good. Race.
Hillary looks her best right now because she's running against a sweetheart. When she starts running against someone who punches back, she is going to look terrible. Right? When Hillary's identity stops becoming the senator from New York, Bill Clinton's wife, and starts becoming like a fat, ugly whore who's been evil her entire life, when you start seeing Trump tweeting memes of her with horns and fire coming out of her nose and her whatever,
can I point out something though?
Mm-hmm.
All right. In a political process, you have certain states that are almost always a given. For example, New York and California are almost always going blue. Texas is almost always going red. Mm-hmm. Most of the southern states are going to go red. All Hillary has to do is win 2 or 3 of the southern states and win in some of the states that Ted Cruz won in, such as like Iowa, Wisconsin, and places like that, which is very easy to do for a Democrat. Because like Wisconsin's like a state that flip-flops red or blue. All you got to do is win those 2 or 3 key states, and you got it. And women hate Trump. Black people hate Trump. Latin people hate Trump. Trump is pretty much a old white candidate.
So,
and I don't think he's got the numbers to back it.
For people who maybe aren't Americans and don't know this already, there's red states that are Republicans, blue states that are Democrats, and purple states that are swing states. They could go either way. The thing is, there's so many more blue states than red states that the Republicans have to like shoot the moon. They have to get almost all the purples to go to their side to win. Because if you just look at the reds and blues, the Democrats are practically winning already. They just need, 3 out of the 7 purples, or that's a lot. 2 out of the 7 purples, and they win. So he's right. The Democrats are most likely going to be the next president. All I'm saying is Hillary is going to look so much worse if she runs against Trump, because Trump will make her look awful. She doesn't even have a nickname yet.
I can tell you
she's not Lion Ted or Low Energy Jeb, right? Wait till she's like, corrupt Hillary.
I can tell you how Trump wins the White House, though. If Sanders runs as an independent, Trump wins the White House.
Yeah, I guess they'll split up the Democrats enough.
They'll split because, like, for me, I won't vote Hillary. I'm not going to vote Hillary.
No, I wouldn't vote for another.
To me, Hillary is not a Democrat. Hillary is a light Republican. I mean, like, she has Republican policies, but she kind of leans a little bit further to the left. Like, if you went back to the day of, like, Abraham Lincoln, Hillary would be a Republican. So it's like...
My politics knowledge gets sketchy if you go back that
Abraham
far.
Lincoln
but she's probably as far right as, like, Reagan is. Reagan wouldn't be much of a Republican nowadays.
Yeah, Abraham Lincoln was a Republican.
Yeah, right. Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. But, he also set the slaves free. That's why I was saying that Hillary Clinton would fit right in the Republican Party if you went that far back.
Yeah.
Well, any of the politicians nowadays would, because they'd all freed the slaves, and that was, Democrats weren't all about that back then.
So here's what I was saying before you got on the show. We talked about this, and I was like, the only honest way to support Sanders is if you think you're going to lose, right? And that is so if socialism comes around, there's going to be winners and losers in this redistribution thing, and if you think you'll do better under socialism, then really what you're trying to do is take from the achievers to line your own pockets.
No. Yeah. All right, first off, you're older than me, Woody, so you should know this.
right.
Back in the day, rich people were taxed after $10 million at 95%. This
not exactly, but
well, it did. Eisenhower knocked it down to 75%, and it slowly went down to
there were
Reagan.
so
Reagan
many
knocked it down
tax
to 38%.
deductions back in that day that it wasn't the same. You know, you'd create
This is after $10 million. It's a scale.
You just make fake partnerships that have like cash gains and tax losses. I mean, even during like Carter's day, there was a 70% tax rate, and everyone had these like crazy funds and losses and stuff. That like even if your business made money, you're able to have it lose money in the books. The point I'm trying to make is these fake tax rates that they pull out from the back were never really what they say they were. When there was a 70% tax rate, you didn't pay it.
There's some companies that didn't escape that fake tax rate, and we lived in a paradise. I don't know which. I'm just saying, like, every company doesn't get those tax rates. Like, for example, like when Machinima boomed, me and you were paying like 40 or 50% tax rates on our money. I mean, if we were Donald Trump, we wouldn't be paying 40 or 50% tax rates because we would have all these like shell companies and things to funnel money through and launder money, and we got the process down pat. But like, not everybody is Donald Trump. Not every company has these expensive accountants that do nothing but launder money and like kind of like clean money as it goes through a system. So there's going to be more money made out of taxes in a 95% era tax rate than there is in like a 28.8% era tax rate or 35% of the day standards. And what I was saying is when Trump goes, let's make America great again, he doesn't really point out like a specific time, but I'm only going to assume he's mentioned in the 50s, you know, where the German auto industry was destroyed, Japan auto industry was nuked, you know, all America's car industry was booming, and, you know, everybody was paying taxes. You could, you know, buy a house and a new car every year on one salary. And all this came through because we had a good, strong social safety net.
Well, I think it was more because the companies that would have competed were utterly crippled by the war, which meant that there was no competition.
There's that, but also that we were building roads, we were building interstates, we were building up the infrastructure. There was a lot more jobs to go around, and those jobs paid well.
Something here.
Yeah,
like,
and once again,
we literally blew up all the other countries while America wasn't involved.
I just
in the war.
said that. You know, the car
I know, but you also like sort of assigned it to like, well, taxes were really high and things were great, so if we could just make taxes higher again, then that's really the core reason that our industries
Here's my core reason I want to go for a socialist type system, and you think it's got to be redistribution of wealth, which wealth does need to be redistributed. When your money, Kyle's money, Murka's money, my money, Chiz's money, everything you see right now on the table is 2% of the total wealth, you need to redistribute it. When 160 people have 98% of the wealth, something's wrong. You know what I'm saying? You might need to redistribute it. And you're trying to say achievers. You used the word achiever just a minute ago. Do you think the children of Sam Walton are achievers?
Let me ask you this.
No.
So Bill Gates' dad was wealthy, right? His father was worth like $20 million. If his dad was yours, right? If you were born into that family, would you be Bill Gates? I wouldn't.
Bill Gates
wouldn't
also
be the
gives away
richest
like
man in the
90%
world.
of all his money.
Yeah, I would not have made it to be the richest man in the world if my dad was worth $20 million. Like, I get that he had a head start, but head start or not.
How much do you think Donald Trump's kids are worth? What do you think they're worth?
A lot. They all do cool things. His daughter married a billionaire, so like, I mean, like I can't think of a better catch like than a billionaire's hot daughter. Like I think Ivanka's pretty fucking hot, and the Tiffany one, she's okay. Yeah,
I'm just saying, like, do you think like Donald Trump Jr. is like this super achiever that the economy would like fall apart if we didn't have?
That guy looks like a real. Hang on, that guy looks like a real fucking doofus when you look at him. But I've heard him speak twice. Once to Sean Hannity, like a phone call interview, and once on CNN maybe or Fox News. I don't know. He is extremely well spoken and intelligent, and he looks like a real doofus. I know he does. He has a terrible look, and that is not the hairstyle. When you have a face,
we're not talking about the look, Kyle. We're not talking about.
I'm just saying.
What I'm talking about is like a lot of these people. Like, not everybody that has money is an achiever. They might do something great. Yeah. They might run their father's company to a T, just like he taught them to do it. And he might constantly make money, but they were born with a money pipe already full blast.
But on the same token, not everyone who's born or in a situation where they don't currently have funds available to them just ended up there, because they fell off a ladder and they had to pay $600,000 for a new spine or some shit. Like most people I don't know. It just seems like it's a really harsh dichotomy where one side's like all those people who have money, they're not really heroes. That's the Sanders side, and then the other side that's so against it is, all these people don't have money because they're just not working
because they fuck people out of their mortgages.
Wait,
are those
what?
achievers?
I don't know,
man. Back in 2008, you had people borrowing money off of the gains of bad mortgages, and then they would, sell that money back for profit. The mortgages to other companies for profit, and eventually these mortgages started going belly up, and it caused the crash of 2008.
Yeah.
Are everybody that became millionaires during that time, are they all super achievers for
no, of course not.
juggling
But
numbers?
it's a differentiation to make.
You think of every millionaire as a Justin Bieber, somebody that worked hard at their craft, put in the hours, and then made it gain success. Mm-hmm. That's not always the case either.
That's the overwhelming majority, I would say. Like I would, especially when we talk about millionaire, right? We're not talking about billionaire. We're not talking about like 100 millionaire. If we're talking about the people who have like less than 5 million, they probably started a business. It was successful. Yeah. They worked all the time. I haven't had a day off in like 6 years. Right?
Yeah, more likely than not.
That's but you also under Bernie Sanders' tax plan would not be adversely hit.
And you wouldn't have it any other way.
Because you don't make $10 million a year, Woody.
You would absolutely have to. Everybody would have to pay.
So if you started making $10 million a year, you'd be adverse to paying like 20% more.
We're about to start the Crusher. All right, and when the Crusher hits the scene, $10 million a year is gonna be chump change.
I'll be the richest one on this call.
We're gonna be.
I'm just saying this. It's good to have rich people, and rich people deserve to be rich if they work for it. They do. But on the side note is when you have companies like Walmart, you have companies like the pharmaceutical people like Martin Shkreli, that are just laundering and leasing people for their money because they can. When you have companies like McDonald's that won't pay their workers a fair wage, when you have companies like Walmart that get it coming and going, they pay their employees so little that the government has to subsidize them with food stamps, and then the people turn around and use the food stamps in their company. And this is the biggest company in America right now.
The thing is, Walmart pays their people exactly what they're worth.
More taxes, right? They're ready to run from the country.
1%. That's not his plan. So look, what you do is you say, hey, everyone deserves $15 an hour, right? Every man, woman, and child who has a job, well, that's what Sanders says, deserves $30,000 a year. That's what $15 an hour is at the 2 weeks off.
He put 15 up there, but he said they need a livable wage. 15 could increase.
Not every job. Like
if the person that's pouring your coffee at Starbucks has to feed kids too.
They do, and
even if everybody went to school and everybody was a wonderful achiever, somebody has to dig the ditches.
Okay, hold on a second. Capitalism requires people to make more of themselves than a barista.
Crony capitalism.
That's what
we're trying to go to a socialist.
No, crony capitalism means that you hire people who are your friends instead of a meritocracy. So. But you don't all get to make $30,000 a year if you're not worth that. If there's so many, it's supply and demand determines
what's
wages.
Worth $30,000 though.
Supply and demand determines it, just like it determines the price on everything else. It also includes human
capitalism doesn't work unless it's in an enclosed system.
I think what you don't realize is that if you make the minimum wage $15 an hour, then people are guaranteed to lose those jobs, right? The fries and McDonald's will make themselves because at $15 an hour, it's cheaper that way.
You got to put government regulation on it.
Okay, so here's the thing. When you take the government and you have it mandate how things are run, right? So it's protectionism that is so strong, right? Like, all right, now this is forced to be done in the U.S. It's forced to do that. If the government starts regulating how these things do, instead of allowing these companies, or forcing these companies, I should say, to compete on their own merits, you get what happened to Russia. Right when the hold on a second. When the Iron Curtain, when the Iron Curtain dropped, and we looked inside what was Russia, it looked like it was the 50s. Their cars were old-fashioned, while ours were electronically fuel-injected. Their tractors and tanks and all the crap they had. Their farmers were shit. You want to know why? Because they weren't forced to compete on prices next to others like American farmers are.
They weren't on the level with us in any way.
After I left Kyle's house and I came back here, my brother had been carless for about a year at that point, and he had a military check. My brother's a Purple Heart military veteran, and he was down on himself. He was gaining weight. He was stuck pretty much in the house because he couldn't, he had to beg people to take him places. So I'm like, my credit's freed up. You got the money to pay for it. I'll go help you get a truck. So I went and helped him get a truck, and I co-signed for it because his credit was ruined. credit cards in the military. Like, he got these credit cards in the military where you could like buy stuff out of the base store. He messed his credit up with that. So 2.5 years go by, and it's all good and grand. But my brother develops a little bit of a drug problem. But it's a lot of a drug problem.
He's had that for years.
A couple years, right? He didn't, but at the time I helped him get the truck, he wasn't on drugs. Mm-hmm. So, like, my belief was this: it was a solid deal. I'm helping him out. He gets $1,400 from the military. Truck payment's $300 a month. He can cover the truck payment even if he doesn't get a job.
Why did he give him 14 from the military?
PTSD, and he caught a frag grenade.
Okay, does that last for life?
For life, he gets that for life. And then, well, he got on. He started on with these things called pain pills, Dilaudid, things of that nature, and he got that through a girl. And well, eventually he got another job by a guy across the street, and he ended up making good money on that job. He's making $16-17 an hour, which is good money in South Carolina
for sure.
And so he's getting the military check plus that money, so he's making $4 or $5 grand a month. So whatever, I'm good. It's only going to help my credit out. Whatever. Well, he starts graduating.
He's making $3 grand a month. But anyway.
Right.
Unless I'm missing.
He starts graduating. He stops doing the pain pills and he starts doing the heroin.
Mm-hmm. That's a common progression.
It's a common progression. And he started out with these things called slits. They're like little envelopes that come with white powder, and you sniff them. And that eventually turns into the liquid heroin, which is like black. And it comes in like vials. Well, when he couldn't get the heroin, he subsidized it with crack. Mm-hmm. Well, he got caught about 2 months ago, maybe 3 months ago, with all three substances in his truck: crack, heroin, and pain pills in a bottle that isn't his. Mm-hmm. So now he's facing a felony charge of trafficking.
Ooh. But he doesn't actually traffic. He just happens to be.
It's going to be pushed down. That's the charge they gave him. They're going to lower the charge probably. Mm-hmm. He's probably going to get a misdemeanor. But when he got hit with that charge, his job fired him. And now he's using his military check to fund his habit. The only problem is he just bought a house on the GI Bill to go with it. So his house payment's like $850 a month. Plus the truck, plus the drug habit, and now he's like 3 months behind on the truck, and I have no clue.
Think he's? I think there might be a good chance.
Him about it, and all he wanted to do was fight me.
I think there might be a good chance he might have to go to jail. For at least, I'm not talking about prison. Maybe not prison. I don't know about his priors. His military record will help him some, I'm sure, in court. But I think he's in a good bit of trouble here, and he might have to go to county jail for 3 months or something like that.
You think? If this is his first offense and he's just got a bunch of drugs on him, like, you don't go to jail for that, do you?
I mean, look, I don't have a lot of experience in this regard, but I remember I was in traffic court and there were guys up there who had a small amount of marijuana, and they were, it was either like $1,000 fine, $800 fine, or they were sending some of them to jail for a week.
I predict he gets probation.
I think if in lieu of a fine, he may have to do some jail time.
I don't think he's going to get jail time on the first time. I think he's going to hit with a misdemeanor, and he's going to be forced to take place in a locally run like center that helps you get off drugs, which charges you like $300 a month to be taken part of, and you probably get probation too. Which even then, all this isn't helping, because all this is going to be like $600 or $700 each month that he doesn't have. I think it really depends if the judge sees that amount and thinks that if he believes him that was his personal stuff, then that's one thing. But if the judge sees X amount, it's going
to be some minimum sentencing thing.
That could run into it, or
I don't think that'll happen if it's not a felony.
I wish the best for him, but at best case scenario,
I don't care about what he goes through. He's dead to me. I want to know what I should do about the truck.
Well, I don't know about that.
Do you let it go back and just take the hit on the credit? Because the truck's fucking worthless. We owe like 10 grand on the truck. He has beat it all to hell. He's wrecked it 5-6 times. Got rust on the body. like the truck is worthless. At best, it's going to be fair, like on like a Kelley Blue Book fair, and like I think it's worth like $5,000, but I don't think I can get somebody to give me $5,000 for it.
I think what you need to do is go talk to the bank. 2008
GMC Sierra Z71 extended cab.
Yeah, you need to go talk to the bank, and you need to be very honest and straightforward with them, and be like, look, this is the situation I'm in. This is what's happened. I can't, and just tell them the truth. Be like, look, I'm not going to make payments on this vehicle. I can't see doing that. So I'm just letting you know up front. Whatever we need to do.
They're going to take the truck back regardless. I was trying to say what would be the best route for me. Because when they do that,
I think Kyle's plan, the tail end of it, is going to be: would you arrange something for pennies on the dollar? It'll get you something rather than nothing.
Yes, you may be able to. They're in a position to deal with you instead of selling your debt to some collection agency. They might be more willing to work with you and work something out that will be softer on your credit. But I'll tell you what: if you just turn a cold shoulder to them and ignore them and like, I'm not answering that. That's my brother's phone call that's calling, because that's your phone call. Don't be confused. It's about you too.
They call me 6 times a day.
You need to be answering them. You need to be like, you need to set an appointment, go and talk to them, and be straightforward and just straight up honest with them about everything that's happened and everything that's going to happen, and it'll be a lot easier on you.
Oh, there's a little bit of information I still got to get. Let me pull this out here. I don't know why I'm bothering to show you, but he sent me a text message. Let me read it to you.
Goodness.
It might have been a Facebook message. And I don't know if I should believe him or not. This was sent on Monday at 6:21 p.m. Well, I sent him a message on Saturday. He goes, still no word if you're going to make a truck payment. I really need to know something. And he got to me Monday, which is 2 days later. I am trying working construction. Started last week. I should be able to start catching up.
Well, I guess you got to take him at his word for it. But if he misses,
like I said, like he could possibly go into jail.
I mean, if you need to do what I told you to do. You need to go talk to the bank, whoever the lender is. Yeah, you need to tell them the truth, 100% the truth. Be like, tell them about the drug problem. Tell them about why you co-signed with him. Tell them about your personal financial situation. Let them know if you can do anything. Let them know that you're interested in looking at some other alternative. But let them know, hey, we're not going to be able to make payments on this. You
just go to the bank, talk to the loan officer.
Who's the loan through? Who's it's financed with?
Chase.
You arrange that at a car dealership, or Chase is your bank and you went in there and took out.
No, Chase is the car dealership we arranged it at.
Then you need to do it over the phone. Then you can call them and then they'll let you know where to go from there. But that's a phone number kind of thing. Yeah, answer their calls.
What happens now when they call? Do you not answer, or do you like?
I've answered a couple times, and all they want to do is make me. They were like, "Well, can you help him out today and make a payment?" And I tell them, "No, I'm not making a payment over the phone."
Because you can't pay it either.
No, I can pay it. I got the money to pay it. Mm-hmm. But I don't. But I understand it's my responsibility. But at the same time, I much rather have Kenneth pay it since it's his truck.
Yeah.
I don't drive it. I've never drove it. I think I've drove the truck one time, and I was test driving it. And
co-signing's a tough deal, man.
It kind of sucks because I thought this was a solid one. It's like, this is helping him out. He's got the money. He makes good money. And then heroin comes out of left field and elbow drop.
Yeah, that's shitty, man. Well, you definitely need, I would talk to my brother, tell him, look, man, if you haven't gotten this payment to me and just pick a day, next week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, whatever. If this payment hasn't been made by then I'm going to let him know that, hey, I know I've co-signed for this thing, but he's not going to make any payments, and I'm going to start looking for some other option where they take the truck back, or they auction the truck, or we refinance this thing in some way or another. I don't know what your options are, frankly, but you need to talk to them, because what you don't want to do is have them put you on some red list where you're an issue customer and they start doing the worst they can do to you. They sell your shit to collections and they hit you as hard on your credit as possible. They can definitely take it easy on you or fuck you up.
Yep.
Yeah. You don't want them garnishing your wages.
Well, they can't do that in South Carolina.
Yeah, they can't do that there. But But either way, I'm glad you
judgment
came.
against me, and if I get, and they take taxes and shit like that, which I don't get taxes, I pay in taxes, so that doesn't help me either.
Yeah, I'm glad you came on. What you been up to in your free time?
Before we go to there, I want Wings. I think that you really enjoy being the hero in someone who's on tough luck story, right? You know, if someone's not doing well, you like helping that guy, and I get that.
Yeah.
It's important to evaluate the risk to yourself, though. Like when you help Kelly, like that's all cool. He's staying with you, and there's not a lot that can go terribly wrong. You know, you're inconvenienced or whatever, but that's okay, right? That's what you're deciding to do to someone. When you co-sign, like when you put your credit on somebody else's hard luck story because his credit's so bad, you know, he wasn't even a case where he had no credit. He was a case where he already fucked up his credit. And now he's fucked up your credit too.
Yeah, but like I did evaluate it, Woody. I mean, like you can't like foresee like, well, this guy's going to become a hardcore drug addict in the next 2 years.
I feel like I swear he's had issues with that as long as he got out of it. I mean, he had issues with that when he was still in the military. He was a drinker or something. Like he.
Yeah, he liked to drink. Yeah, but like at the time he was at the house, he was sober.
That's a big leap, you know, from alcohol to heroin. I know.
I know alcohol is a problem.
But the thing is, like, I evaluated. I'm like, he gets the money, and at the time, my mother was working his finances. Like, my mother would pay his bills for him.
I get that. Look, maybe this one was hard to see coming.
Yeah, this one was hard to see coming.
This is Crook, right?
Yeah, this is Crook.
This guy hasn't been thriving for as long as I've known you, which is like 6 years now.
Well, he was kind of thriving a while ago because he's making $3,000 or $4,000 a month, depending on how much he worked.
And that was enough to support quite a drug habit, unfortunately, though.
Right. I mean, that's the problem. Like, you know, if you make $3,000 a month in South Carolina, you're living easy.
I guess I'm just. I mean, I maybe
you can get a woman that drives a Chevrolet,
a real automobile.
All I'm saying is, like, you know, be sure to evaluate the risk that you're taking when you're helping people out. You know, you let someone stay with you, that's cool. You let someone borrow your truck who's likely to steal it. You know, which is the thing. One of these people stole your truck.
Yeah, I'd watch that old fellow in there. You never know.
My mama let somebody borrow one of my vehicles.
Yeah, I'd watch that old fellow in there. He'll be rifling through your drawers, going through your change and shit, taking stuff. You know, we don't know that fellow. That guy came from plenty of fish. I
didn't choose to help this guy. He just got dropped on me.
Motherfucker, you opened the door. Hey, look, I'll tell you what. Somebody dropped that old motherfucker off on my porch. He would not be here an hour later.
The law.
I'd call the law.
Like, Mom invited him in the house, you know, and then she left.
Are you telling me that you would like it if this motherfucker would leave right now? Why don't have you told him that? Is he actively looking for a way out?
My mother is for him.
Well, he should be looking for himself because he's fucking 7.
He doesn't have license or anything.
How much? Oh my God! Then you need to tap into this pension that he's got and start taking some of that money and put it on Crook's fucking car. That's your answer. There you go. All right, we can wrap PKA happily. Here you go. Defraud that old man. Take his money. Give it to Crook. That plus Crook's GI Bill money and you know, maybe a little supplemental construction work, he'll be fine.
Don't forget, Wings, you're a rape squad killer. You defraud this fucking old man.
Defraud him.
That would be defraud. Like if he isn't out by the end of this month, he's got to start paying rent.
Yeah, charge that motherfucker rent and just sign him up for a thing where his checks go directly into your account and then you bill him. You bill him for services, and he gets like a statement and and the net, you know, the money left over.
You make it this a lot more